Welcome back to Black News Tonight. 3,000 strong African Hebrew Israelites have been calling the state of Israel home since 1969. But there remains an ongoing push to deport them in gradual steps. A recent report by the Times of Israel reveals that last Thursday, the Interior Ministry's Population and Immigration Authority has sent 51 members of the Hebrew Israelites letters ordering them to leave by September 23rd. And these letters were dated August 9th, shortening the deportation timeframe by a whole month. Hebrew Israelites live predominantly in the southern city of Dimona. The mayor of the town, Benny Beton, is against the deportation tactics and recently released a statement. In it, he says, "In a conversation I had with the Interior Minister, we arranged for an urgent hearing in her office in order to cancel the deportation of members of the Hebrew community. In addition, Minister Shaked promised to freeze the deportation proceedings until the hearing. Residents of Dimona, members of the Hebrew community, I want to tell you one thing. As long as I'm here, I will not lend a hand in this horrible expulsion." Joining me now from Dimona, Israel, is Sar Ahmadiel Ben Yehuda. He is the Minister of Information for the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem. Shalom, my brother. Welcome to the show. The Interior Ministry's Population and Immigration Authority sends y'all these letters, and it's not the first time that this is happening. The Dimona mayor is standing by your community. If you have the mayor supporting you, you all have been there for over 50 years. So many people have supported you. How is this happening? Why is this happening now?
Shalom, Mark. Good to speak with you again, and thanks for having us. Indeed, that is the question, and particularly the timing is very, very inappropriate. We're on the eve, the literal eve of the highest of the high holy days here, Yom Kippur, a day that's set aside for atonement and reconciliation among brethren. And this is how the Ministry of Interior, this is the message that they send us. That's troubling for us. That's certainly the height of inappropriateness. Where is the sensitivity? But as you said, this isn't something new. We've been here before throughout our history here. And there's no question that some of these, not some, but all of that 51, that they did fall between the cracks of legality where the immigration laws were concerned. But I would remind your viewers and remind, obviously, those who sit in the Ministry of Interior offices that Israel was founded upon the idea of an illegal immigration. It is how the state of Israel came into being, part and parcel of it. Those who were engaged in those activities 50, 60, 70 years ago, rather, that they are enshrined forever as heroes and heroines in the history of Israel. And so we find it quite inappropriate, quite disingenuous to serve these notices on the eve of this holy day.
You weren't surprised by the ruling, which is interesting. I mean, when you came on the show a couple of months ago, some people had gotten notices. There was some hope that there'd be a stay, that there'd be some kind of pushback, that the state would change its mind. But since then, there hasn't been. Why are you not surprised that there hasn't been a change in sentiment or a change in policy from the state toward the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem?
Well, we're not surprised simply because this was an appeal to the same ministry and the same departments and the same functionaries who sit in the offices of the Ministry of Interior that were asked to make the appeal, and to ask them to rule against themselves was not quite, it wasn't something we had a lot of hope in. These are religious party functionaries. These are right-wing elements. And I have to be frank and say that these are racist elements that actually still hold many of these positions in that particular ministry. And that's not just us talking. There's a report that was prepared for a government ministry. It was the Ministry of Diaspora Affairs, and a rabbi, in one of his comments, he says there are clear racial elements in the Ministry of Interior, and some of its employees seem to harbor a hostile approach. Said these people should be removed from their posts. So we're not surprised. This is going to require a legal and or political resolution. And so we're still hopeful, and we see indications that such is in the works. Again, the mayor is a great supporter. He does have certain clout and inroads that may appeal to the voices of reason. There was a new government finally after nearly 2 years of being in limbo here. There were no budgets. So what I'm saying is that it's a very, very fragile coalition that they were able to cobble together, and no one wants to upset a lot of these different support and elements within that coalition. So we'll see what happens, but we do see indications that they're looking for a way that they can come up with a resolution that doesn't compromise their fragility.
So, I mean, this is very confusing to me. It's always been very confusing to me. You know, I've spent a great deal of time there. Spent time with you in the community. I've seen what goes on there. I've never fully understood why at this juncture, why there'd be such a push to get you out. Race seems to be an issue that you're raising. I mean, many of the members were born and raised in Israel. They've never lived anywhere else. Many have served in the IDF. They served in the Israeli military. They've done the things that Israeli citizens do. What's their reason? I mean, what reason can they give other than we just don't think you belong?
I don't know of anything that makes any sense, Mark. It does tie back. It does have its roots in a great fear. We would say it's an irrational fear, but it's a fear of the people of African ancestry all over the world that do have links to this land, and it's a fear of their awakening and wanting to identify and specifically wanting to then immigrate here. But let's deal with just one group, and we're not talking about the Africans in America, though. That's a major group in itself. Let's talk about the Igbo of Nigeria. Let's talk about the.
Let me pause you for 1 minute, Amadiel, because I want you to get to the Igbo because that's actually an interesting point. But I want to play devil's advocate just a little bit here. The state of Israel will say, we're not racist. Yeah. We had Operation Moses. We've had Operation Jacob. We have literally airlifted Ethiopians during war and famine from the continent of Africa, from Ethiopia, and brought them into the state of Israel and made them citizens. So if we brought them in, clearly we're not racist. Maybe it's y'all. What do you say to that?
First of all, we have knowledge that there are more than 240,000 more than were airlifted of Ethiopian Jews remaining in Ethiopia that the country has not moved to bring here, that are waiting, that want to come and immigrate to Israel, that have family members here. We would say, what happened to the continuation of that particular effort? It smacks of possibly that this was just a stopgap measure to say exactly that we're not racist because we've done X, Y, and Z. And we would say that that's disingenuous on their part.
What can you say to people who say, why do you want to be there? You're Black people, your origins are in Chicago, at least in modern history, Chicago, right? Ben Israel, left Chicago, went to Liberia, then goes to Israel. Y'all are from Chicago. Why not just go somewhere else? Why do y'all want to be in Israel so bad? What do you say to them?
Well, you're right. I'm from D.C. And by the way, Mark, from Philly, conceived in Philly. We would simply say that we know that 60%. Right. I knew that. We would say that 60%, it is known that 60% of the Africans in America came through the port of Charleston, and that upwards of 60% of them were probably of Igbo origin, West African ethnic origins. Well, the Igbo, their historical narratives, their saga, their migration sagas point them to Israel. And so our legitimate search for identity led us back to Israel, not just to West Africa. The threads of our cultural continuity did not stop or begin in West Africa. They continued back to this land. Israel is Northeast Africa. So this is the land of our ancestry. We're Judeans. We're not Jewish in the sense of being adherents to Judaism and the tenets of that religion. We are Judeans, so we actually live in southern Judea. This is where I've made my home for the last 40 plus years, where we as a community have lived for 50 plus years. So there is an authentic, proven by some DNA testing, that authenticates our presence here and our ties here. And if indeed this is our ancestral land, then the Ministry of Interior need to wake up to some things and understand that there are some spiritual and metaphysical consequences that would be the result of them trying to deport us at this particular time.
How does this end?
That's a good question, Mark. We're hopeful, and our hope again does not lie in the political or the legal. We have faith and hope. We are spiritual people. We believe in the organic link of the man and the land. We would simply say, as Ben-Ami has said before, we understand the gatekeepers having their responsibility, but again, that authority only goes but so far. Here on the eve of Yom Kippur, we would expect another decision. We would expect another intervention, so to speak. And again, in Ben-Ami's words, no power on earth will or can stop us from manifesting our destiny in this land.
Well, my brother, we will be following this very closely. We'll keep our audience updated. And of course, I want to thank you for staying up very, very early in the morning to make this happen. It is past 3 in the morning in Israel right now. So thank you for staying up and thank you for sharing your story.
Science tells us that the inner experience in your heart, in my heart, that our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our prayers, our beliefs in our bodies have no effect on the world beyond our bodies. Do you believe that? I'm going to tell you, there is a language. There is a language that lives in every human that walks this earth. It's a language of no words. It's a language of human emotion. That feeling is something that does not happen in your mind. It happens in your heart. That feeling is a language. That feeling is a power that lives inside of your body. Today, modern science is beginning to understand that that feeling that happens inside of our bodies has a direct effect on the stuff our world is made of, on the atoms and the molecules of our physical world. So what we choose to experience in our lives, we must first feel in our hearts as if it has already happened. So the question, how much power do we really have to change our world, to change our lives, to change our bodies? How much power do you believe that we really have? The question that we're really asking is, who are we? Who are we? And this is the great mystery and the controversy in the language of science. Are we simply observers, passive observers in this universe, watching the world go by, or are we powerful creators? As our most cherished religious and spiritual traditions have always said, are we actually powerful creators that have forgotten how to use our power? How many have heard of the lost Gospel of Thomas? The lost Gospel of Thomas. Some of you have heard of that text. Very, very powerful text. The lost Gospel of Thomas is powerful because it is believed to be the actual words of Jesus as he was teaching those around him how to use the power of human emotion in his life. To unleash the force of the divine matrix in our lives, first, we have to understand how it works, and the science tells us how it works. Secondly, we must speak the language that the divine matrix recognizes, and science cannot tell us that. That comes from our past, from our culture, from our history, from those who have learned and used this language for thousands of years. So this is what we're doing right now. We're learning what did Jesus and what did the great masters say about this language. Because it's the same, whether you're talking Buddhist or Hindu or Christian, pre-Christian traditions, they're all telling us that there is a field of energy and that we have the language to use that field. This is an actual page out of the Gospel of Thomas. So we know that this ancient gospel actually existed. And you can see some of the letters. These are Greek letters. You can actually read some of, if you know Greek, you can see some of the Greek letters right here. In the Gospel of Thomas, two very important keys. This was written right around 300 years after the time of Jesus. In this gospel, okay, so here's what we're doing. We've been in the Buddhist monasteries in Tibet, and they're telling us that that feeling is the prayer, one. Two, that we must feel as if our prayers have already been answered. Gospel of Thomas, if you have a copy of the Gospel of Thomas, this is verse 106. It says, when you make the two, thought and emotion, one. So the Gospel of Thomas is talking about thought and emotion. It's saying when you make your thought and your emotion one, look at what happens. You will say to the mountain, mountain, move away, and the mountain will move away. Saying that when you can marry your thought and your emotion into one single potent force, that is when you have the power to speak to the world. Now this is verse 48. It says almost the same thing. This was so important that it was recorded at least 3 different times in the same gospel. Look at what this says. If the two make peace with each other in this one house. When Jesus is talking about the house or the temple, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? Precisely you. You are the house. You are the temple. If the two make peace with each other in this house, if thought and emotion become one, if they make peace with each other in this house, look what happens. They will say to the mountain, move away, and it will move away. He's telling us again, in a completely different verse, how powerful it is to marry thought and emotion. But they still haven't told us how. How do you do this? That's the next piece. In the early Christian Bible, your Bible today, there is a passage. How many have heard, ask and ye shall receive? Have you heard that before? Ask and you shall receive. Have you heard that? I know people that ask and ask and ask and nothing happens. Because the asking is not done with the voice. The asking is not done, please, please bring this to my world. That's not asking. To ask, we must speak to the field, to the divine matrix in the language that the field recognizes. In a language that's meaningful, the field doesn't recognize our voice, it recognizes the power of our heart. Remember this morning, our heart, we have a feeling, creates electrical waves, magnetic waves. That's the language the field recognizes. So when you create the feeling in your heart as if your prayer is already answered, That creates the electrical and the magnetic waves that bring that answer to you. And you're going to see this in just a moment. Ask and ye shall receive. While we still have this passage in our text, in the Bible that you have today, the King James Version, John 16, 23, 24, what you have is the condensed version. You have the edited version. The edited version looks like this. This is the edited version. Whatsoever ye ask the Father in my name, he will give it to you. Hitherto have ye asked nothing in my name. Okay? Ask and ye shall receive, that your joy may be full. Okay, this is the edited version. This is so amazing to me because they took out the two sentences that tell us how to ask. In the 4th century, when the edits happened, they took those two sentences out. Would you like to see those two original sentences? Okay, we'll go back into the original Aramaic and we'll look at a new translation. This is the original Aramaic. It begins, it looks very similar. So this is the retranslated version with the missing pieces. All things that you ask straightly, directly from inside my name, you will be given. It says, so far you've not done this, because if we ask with our voice, we have not done this. Now here's the piece that was edited. Here is what was lost. Look at these two very powerful sentences. Ask without hidden motive and be surrounded by your answer. Be enveloped by what you desire, that your gladness be full. Look at what it's saying. It's not saying to speak a word. It's saying to be surrounded, to feel as if. If you are surrounded, you are feeling as if your answer has already happened. Be enveloped. If you want the perfect relationship in your life, if you want the healing in the body of your loved ones, feel the feeling of what it is like as if that has already happened. Be enveloped by what you desire, because that is when your thought and your emotion become one. You think the thought of the healing in your loved ones, and you feel the love of that thought. They become one, and that is the language that this field recognizes. Does that make sense? Are you okay with that? Ask without hidden motive. What does that mean? Hidden motive. Ask without judgment. This is precisely what the Buddhists are telling us. Ask without the judgment of the right or the wrong or the good or the bad. Ask without the ego. Ask from the heart. Is this meaningful to you? Is this helpful at all? Let me give you an example then. Because to be, if it says be surrounded, that means to feel as if. To feel as if. Now, if that sounds too religious, because it's from the Bible, we spoke this morning about Neville, the philosopher Neville, early in the 20th century. His book, The Power of Awareness. Look at what he says. It's the same thing. Neville says, you must make your future dream a present fact now by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to come from the place that it's already happened. Physical reality must respond to the language that it understands. So in the Buddhist traditions, they are telling us the quality of the feeling. And in the Judeo-Christian traditions, they are giving us the instructions to be surrounded, to be enveloped, how to create that feeling. And when you put those all together, it's something that happens in our hearts, not in our minds. Feeling as if the prayer is already answered with no judgment and no ego, and feeling from the result. Feeling from the result as if it's already happened.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Let me know if I can be heard, family. Let me know if I can be heard. Give me a Yahoo up in the chat if I can be heard. I wanted to share that with the fam. Abundant prayers to our brothers and sisters over in the Holy Land. Abundant prayers and prayers of protection. May the Holy Malakim surround you, brothers and sisters, with walls of fire and utterly confound, put down, destroy every plot, plan, and scheme that the adversary has against our family. Because regardless if we agree totally or not, those are still our people, our brothers, our sisters. And you know, the oppressed of Israel all over this earth, man. So I hear y'all in the chat talking about the Haitians and all that. A lot of us got family down in Haiti. You understand? So may the Most High send his ministering angels to cover and protect us. And now is the time more than ever, y'all. Hurry up. You understand? To be found in good graces dealing with the Heavenly Father. Because those that are servants of the adversary, Slick Willie himself, or on time with their master. They're organized. They're diligent. So how much more should we be? All right. But y'all see the title, this part 29 of that Nazarene edition. We're going over the folly and the sin of the heathen gods. We're going to be in the Clementine Homilies, which is, for y'all don't know, first century documentation, which is Peter's son Shimon K5. Peter, that's a journal documented or wrote down or scribed by Clement. All right. His understudy until he was fully initiated into the Nazarene way. You understand? Clement actually is a Gentile, believing Gentile. And that's something we've been telling brothers and sisters. A lot of people like Paul was the apostle to the Gentiles. No, all the disciples were sent forth into the nations to holler at the Israelites who didn't know they was Israelites living like heathens and natural heathens. All right. They already was sent out at the Messiah's resurrection. Go forth. All right. Peter was already hollering at Cornelius. All the disciples, when you look at the contingencies of the apostles and the disciples, and you look at them and how they all died in foreign territory. What they was doing, they was out ministering to the nation. So they already was given the protocol. The Nazarenes already had a protocol to the nations, to the Gentiles. All right. A Gentile convert and an Israelite convert had to come up under the same measure or rule of thumb if they wanted to follow Yahshua, Yahushua, Yahushua Hamashiach, all right, of Nazareth. You got to come up with the same measure of discipline, same measure of table fellowship, same measure of what you eat, same measure of worship, praise, all of it. You understand? So they already had Gentile protocols. So for the fact that somebody else show up and start doing their own thing, and some people like, well, you know, that's because the Most High was making Israel jealous. Nah, those who were in the Messiah's way of life, they already were given specific and direct orders to witness to the nations. All right. So whether you a Gentile natural who want to follow Yahshua, whether you a Israelite up under a Gentile mindset, or whether you a natural branch born Yahudim, everybody got to convert and follow Yahushua Hamashiach, the Nazarene. You understand? And the Nazarenes had a very strict and disciplined way of life. Discipline way of life. Prolonged periods of fasting, prayer, meditation, against the flesh pots, against the strong liquor, against the smoking and defiling of the temple. They were very, 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 very disciplined and very strict and dedicated. All right. So they already had Gentile protocols, and they had to come up under the same measure and rule of thumb. All right. So I just wanted to bring that out. And because I said something about Clement, and Clement being a natural Gentile, actual Roman, but he had to be initiated into the way. All right. And Peter trained him up, K5, Shimon K5, Peter trained him up very well. Very, very well. So we're about to get into some of that. How y'all doing though? Good to see y'all in the field, and bless up to the family. Salute to my brothers and sisters. All right. We're here to encourage you, brothers and sisters, to keep pushing, strive toward perfection. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Y'all see, we in the season of judgment. We in the season of the 7th month feast. I don't know how I feel where y'all at, but yeah, you can tell it's officially fall. Meaning we keeping feast right on time. So our praises, glory, now to the Heavenly Father, forever live His anointed beloved Son, in the hearts and minds of the faithful elect. Shalom, YHWH'S, guardians of the earth. Praises and salute and blessings to MELCHIZEDEK, Mother Earth. All right. So all praises, glory, now to the Most High. Hallelujah. All right, hallelujah. Stephanie Rounder, you ain't never alone. Bless up. Never alone. Never alone. You got Ruach. Greater is He that's in you than he that's in the world. All right. So never look, whenever that spirit of sadness try to creep in, or heaviness, what we call depression, ain't gotta go. You gotta go. The Most High is not praised with a sad spirit. He's not he's praised with joy. You understand? He's praised with happiness. Can't praise the Almighty and we sad and we got the woe is me spirit, and and I'm all alone. You're never alone. You're never alone. Greater is He that's in you than he that's in the world. Understand that and know that. You understand? And then y'all make sure y'all get each other contact information and reach out and pray with one another. You understand? And just chop it up. Sometimes be that shoulder to lean on, or that, that ear. Sometimes you got to give her ear to listen to your people. You know what I mean? It's my St. Louis stench ear. I didn't say ear. That's how we talk in St. Louis, but hey, it's all good. Love y'all indeed and truth. All praises. I'll pray good to see y'all in the building. Bless up Art Lindsay III, beloved elder. Bless up. Blessing to you and your family. All right. Lion of Yah say Shalom. I need the Enoch calendar. YHWH'S, please put your chat up in the group. And not your chat. I said your chat. Put your email up in the chat. And anybody that needs the Enoch calendar, Ema got him. YHWH'S. She's the one in the chat right now. So y'all just post y'all email and put on there, need the Enoch calendar. Ema will get with y'all. Hallelujah. All praises. Yeah, that's right. Keep the work going. Fire. All praises, brother Yehuda. Bless up. YAH'KI ben Israel. Shalom, brother Stephanie Randall. My beloved sister. Bless up. Tay Israel. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up. Lion of Yah. Aniyah, my sister from Texas. Bless up. Bless up. YHWH'S Kanapat Yah. Bless up. Bless up. Peace, love, light, healing, and balance to the family. Remember that, y'all. Balance. Kilau Lam Kazdo, my beloved sister, House of Troy. Bless up. Now, Amma, bless up. Bless up. Shalom. Ima Rabbi Dapper. I still ain't called you. Ima, please forgive me. I've been called. I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you. All praises. All praises. Glory now to the Most High. That's right. The Buddhists learn from Yeshua. Believe that. Know that. Atara Zafanya Yahu. I believe that's our sister over in the Holy Land. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up. Good to see y'all in the building. Antonio Perez. Shalom. Shalom. All right. Bless up. Nazarene Tara Ishakar. My beloved sister. Bless up on Facebook. KN. Bless up. Shalom. Essene Nazarene YAHWH. Bless up, my beloved brother. Peace, love, light, healing, and balance. All praises. Bless up. Bless up. I see y'all in the building. Dread Writer Akshem Song. My beloved brother. Bless up. Good to see y'all in the building. All right, y'all. We're about to jump into the homilies real quick. For y'all that don't know, y'all go ahead and get that. Nazarene Acts of the Apostles or Clementine homilies. Basically the same document, some extended writings in there. But basically, when it all come down to it, it's Peter's journal. Who knows Peter, the right hand man of Messiah's journal, his writings, his very well documented debates against Simon Magus, his chief antagonist, Simon the magician, or Simon the sorcerer. You read about him briefly in Acts the 8th chapter, but that don't do it no justice. You need to get the Clementine homilies and you see how it go in every detail. So we're about to get into homily 4. And we may be able to get into homily 5. If not, we'll start class out on Friday with homily 5. All right. Now, homily 4, Peter trained up Clement. Clement was a natural Gentile, all right, who comes from a family of idol worshipers and all that. So for anybody to straight bang on these so-called idols and disprove them and join the Nazarene way of life and follow Yahudim, who we call Israelites or Jews, that's a strong conviction right there. That's a strong conviction from a man who ain't just a regular Gentile, come from like Gentile royalty, straight abandoned all his gods, all his way of life, and follow the disciple and chief apostle of HaMashiach, Shimon Kefa. You know what I mean? Or who we call Peter today, right? And we're going to see how, you know, he sliced and diced, showing that Peter trained them up very well. So we about to get into that. Ima Ahuba Kanabat Yah. All praise and glory now to the Most High. If you can, if you see Enoch calendar posted in the chat, everybody who wants the Enoch calendar, type your email in the chat, and then put Enoch calendar behind it. And Ima, you know, we're gonna have to go ahead and put you to work, Ima. You and NehemiYAH. You know what I mean? One of them will send y'all the Enoch calendar. All right. But y'all need to put your emails in the chat. All right. Bless up, bless up. And whatever whoever they don't get to, whatever in my emails, when I catch up with them, I'll send them to you. So all praise and glory now to the Most High. Let's go ahead and share this real quick. Good to see y'all in the building. Peace, love, light, healing, and balance. All right, let's get into it, though. Let's get into it. All right, this right here, the Clementine Homilies, y'all studied in Yale, all the main, Oxford, Cambridge, all of it. All right. Those with degrees, PhDs, and they've been talking about the Clementine Homilies. They've been known as authenticity, and they all know the reason why it is not in the Bible. You feel me? It wasn't allowed in the Bible by various councils of men. It's because it goes against certain Roman agendas, specifically chewing on the dead flesh of animals. All right. Yeah, the Enoch calendar on Google Play Store is one day off from the calendar that Enoch got. All right, so you know we're gonna look at both of them, and we're gonna make a decision as an assembly which one we're gonna roll with. All right, so let me go ahead and share my entire screen for y'all real quick. We're gonna start out in Homily 4. All right, Eliyahu, YAHKI, Shalom, YHWH'S, bless up, bless up. Good to see y'all in the building. All right, let me share this with y'all real quick. All right, love to see the family, man. Love to see the family. All right, we ain't got long to the fall of Babylon. Make sure you pray for your brothers and sisters worldwide. All right, we're starting off on page 90, I believe it is, Homily 4. All right, Homily 4. Y'all put a 7 in the chat if y'all can see that. All right. Now, I personally believe that the Nazarene Acts, aka the Clementine Homilies, is curriculum. Like it's needed in these hours. All right. You got to know, because this is the blueprint. The Messiah left a blueprint on how to properly defend his teachings. All right. He left that. And he gave that understanding to his chosen 12 apostles, disciples, whom he personally breathed Ruach HaKodesh on. All right. Well, one thing that we need to get into and understand is the folly and sin of the heathen gods. All right. And how Clement break it down is very, very, look, how he break it down, it makes sense. It makes sense. And remember, it's coming from a man who comes from Gentile royalty, who are very well acquainted with these so-called gods. Very well acquainted. All right. Knew the whole doctrine backward and forward. All right, so that's cool. Y'all can see that. Got 2 thumbs down. That's it. Okay. Only got 2 thumbs down so far. That's what's up. Only got 2 thumbs down so far. Y'all, that mean we pissing off the right people. Our praises. All right. So let me blow this up a little bit. Homily 4. If y'all got the Clementine Homilies, make sure y'all get that. All right. Only a few dollars on Amazon. All right. The Journals of Simon Peter. All right. We're about to go over Clement's debates right now, though. Why Peter sent them in front of him to come and check Simon Magus, come and check his temperature. In other words, check his spirit, get some intel on him before Peter showed up. You know what I mean? So we sent Clement and them on out there. All right. Y'all coming on down. Okay. So if y'all got it, go ahead and flip over to page 90, Homily 4. Bernice hospitality. Bernice is a Canaanitess woman. All right. It says, thus I, Clement, departing from Caesarea, Stratonius, together with Nicias and Aquila. Now remember, they're departing because if you go back in Homily 3, Peter commanded them to go before him and get into it. He said, I'm going to leave in 7 days. Y'all leave out tonight. And they left out. All right. So it says, entered into Tyre of Phoenicia, and according to injunction of Peter, see, who sent us. So these men are under the orders of a Yahudim named Kepha. Yeah, even in the Nazarene, it's order. You understand? It's order in. All right, but Peter sent them out because they were being initiated into this way. All right, and the initiation, if we got time, we can look at some of it later on in the same book. But the initiation, to be initiated as a Nazarene, specifically a Nazarene teacher, all right, that was a 6-year probationary period. All right, your spirit had to be tried. All right, and one of the things you could not be doing is chewing on the dead flesh of animals. All right, but look at this right here. It says, we lodged with Bernice, the daughter of Justa the Canaanitess. She received us most joyfully and striving with much honor towards me and with affection towards Aquila and Nistus. And speaking freely as a friend, through joy she treated us courteously and hospitably, urged us to take bodily refreshment. Perceiving therefore that she was endeavoring to impose a short delay upon us, I said, you do well. This is Clement. I said, you do well indeed to busy yourself in fulfilling the part of love. Because she was very charitable, right? But the fear of our God must take the precedence of this. For having a combat on hand on behalf of many souls, we are afraid of preferring our own ease before their salvation. Look at that. Trained up well. Trained up well. Clement, like, look, you're doing a very charitable deed, an act of love, and it's duly noted. But we came to battle. We ain't come to get grapes thrown down our throats. We ain't come to walk on the finest lilies from the Far East. We ain't come to get pampered. I mean, you're very charitable. Your acts of love are duly noted, but we are to battle. All right? And we don't want to prefer our own ease before everyone else's salvation. It's powerful. Salute that. Salute that. They don't even want to be entertained. They like, look, we here to battle. You know, our master sent us here. We under orders. Sniff out Simon Magus and get at him. All right. If y'all understand what's going on so far, all right, give us a Yahoo up in the chat. Y'all know me. I ain't trying to lose nobody. All right. Let this mind be in all of us. All right. Let this mind be in all of us. Look, the Gentile convert, and at this moment, he's still getting initiated. He ain't even spent the whole time. All right. But look at this right here. He straight said, like, look, we here to battle. All right. And we are afraid of preferring our own ease before their salvation. Kingdom business at hand. Y'all understand? All right. Simon's practices. This is Simon Magus. But we hear that Simon the magician being worsted at Caesarea in the discussion with our master Peter. Yeah, because see what it was, Peter was openly destroying Simon Magus, his whole doctrine. All right. And everywhere Simon Magus went, he left a path of destruction. All right. He was doing sacrifices, offerings. You understand? He was introducing demon and table fellowship with demons, people. So then Peter would have to come through and clean up his mess. And show people, teach people how to heal, and then pray for them and lay hands on them. And then he realized Simon then ran over somewhere else and spewing more of his madness. Peter like, look, I'm on my way to come hit your top. What you mean? You see that? So Clement is saying that Simon Magus was worsted, meaning Peter got the best of him in Caesarea in the discussion with our master Peter. Immediately hastened hither or her, and is doing much mischief. For he is slandering Peter in opposition to truth, to all the adversaries, and stealing away the souls of the multitude. For he, being a magician, calls him a magician, and he, being a deceiver, proclaims him as a deceiver. And that's how it usually is when you got antagonists in this. They be the ones calling you the devil and all that. And although in the discussion he was beaten in all points and fled, yet he says that he was victorious. And he constantly charges them that they ought not to listen to Peter, as if forsooth he were anxious that they may not be fascinated by a terrible magician. Object of the mission. Therefore, our master K5 Peter, having learned these things, has sent us to be investigators of the things that have been told him, that if they be so, we may write to him and let him know, so that he may come and convict him face to face of the accusations that he has uttered against him. You see that? Yeah, because Simon Peter or Shimon K5 is one of 120 men and women who had them fiery tongues put on them in Acts the 2nd chapter. Also, he's one of the 12 appointed apostles who had Ruach HaKodesh breathed on him at the resurrection of Yahushua HaMashiach. And he was trained by Yahushua HaMashiach while he was living in the flesh. So, contrary to popular belief, we ain't ducking nothing. See that? We ain't ducking nothing. So look at that. He said right here that he may come and convict him face to face of the accusations that he has uttered against him. Since therefore a danger on the part of many souls lies before us. On this account, we must neglect bodily rest for a short time. That's right. That's right. Souls are on the line. And if that means we got to neglect bodily rest and being, pampered with the finest dainties, then so be it, y'all. So be it. And we would learn truly from you who live here whether the things which we have heard be true. Now tell us particularly. Chapter 4 and Homily 4. Simon's doings. All right. MINISTRIES is telling y'all to email her. Email her. All right. Her email is in the chat. Matter of fact, let me put it on the screen. All right, let me put it on the screen while we read. Y'all forget your brother. That way y'all know. Now, she's saying email her. She'll get y'all going crazy over the counter. All praise. It look like that's the one we gonna be going with. Hey, it's all good, y'all. As long as we all on one accord, I'm good with it. All right. All right, Simon's doings. All right, y'all remember. All right. Y'all remember what's going on here, all right? Simon's doings. But Bernice being asked said, these things are indeed as you have heard, and I will tell you other things respecting this same Simon, which perhaps you do not know. For he astonishes the whole city every day by making specters and ghosts appear in the midst of the marketplace. It's kind of a magician. He down with familiar spirits and everything. Look at this. This cat made ghosts appear in the midst of the marketplace. And when he walks abroad, statues move, and many shadows go before him, which he says are souls of the dead. And many who attempted to prove him an impostor, he speedily reconciled to him, and afterwards, under pretense of a banquet, having slain an ox and given them to eat of it, he infected them with various diseases and subjected them to demons, and in a word, having injured many and being supposed to be a god, he is both feared and honored. Y'all look at that. Table fellowship. Now look what he did. He slew an ox, a bullock, and then gave them to eat. According to those who chew on the dead flesh of animals, that's a lawful animal, ain't it? That's lawful flesh to chew on. But look what came behind it. Diseases and unclean spirits. Y'all see that? Look at that. Look at that. And afterwards, under pretense of a banquet, having slain an ox and given them to eat of it, he infected them with various diseases and subjected them to demons. And in a word, having injured many and being supposed to be a god, he is both feared and honored. Yet Nazarenes were very particular about who we eat with. All right. let alone chewing on the dead flesh of animals, let alone that. All right. If y'all understand what's being done so far, you see, because when we read not that long ago, we read about how these so-called dark forces get power over you. You voluntarily subject yourself to them. And one of the main reasons, or one of the main ways that mankind subjects themselves to these unclean forces and catch diseases based off what you're throwing down your mouth, y'all. And believe it or not, majority of it come on through the chewing on the dead flesh of animals. That's just the truth. Because y'all, a bullock or an ox is lawful. Some of us used to eat oxtails. Come on, we in this truth. Eating oxtails, right? Ox booty. You see that? But understand this, table fellowship is very real. You're not supposed to be throwing food down your throat. You understand? That has anything to do with other deities or other gods. By doing that, you're subjecting yourself to these unclean forces. You'll say, well, as long as I don't know that, it's offered to another god, then I should be cool. What you're not realizing is your stomach has become your idol, your god. Your stomach has become your god. All right? You're not supposed to be chewing on the dead flesh of animals. Why do you think the Clementine Homilies is not in your New Testament? Why wouldn't it be? All right, this is directly opposite of what Paul said. Whatever sold in the shambles or the meat markets, eating, don't ask no questions. Peter and all the disciples were trained by MACABEE to eat the fruits, grains, and vegetables of the earth. Even Clement, who was trained under Peter, understood this. And even Bernice knew how Simon the magician was getting his power and authority over the masses of people wherever he came. All right, he was in league with familiar spirits, and he would always throw some kind of feast that always had dead animal flesh. Always. All right. If y'all understand so far, give me an 8 up in the chat. All right. Let me go ahead and take this down real quick. YAH'KI, order that book. Order that and the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles if you can, my sister. Very, very deep read. Very deep. I advise all my brothers and sisters to be well versed in this, because this is the blueprint Messiah left. He left a blueprint on how to properly defend his teachings. And if he taught the Torah the way everybody else teach it, what they murder him for? Why was there so much opposition? Obviously, what he teaches and what he taught is totally opposite than what they received as the truth or what they had written down. Obviously. Because if what he taught was in agreement with everybody, they wouldn't have killed him. They wouldn't have came at him the way they came at him. They wouldn't have handed him over the way they handed him over. All right? Yes. Chewing on the dead flesh of animals. And true about this, y'all, why you think everybody mad at him? In humility, we found the hiding place or the den of them devils. We kicked over those flesh pots, and all them demons came out. That's what they had. That's what they had. So later for that, well, long as the Chinese folk, if I go to the rice shop, what we call a Chinaman here in St. Louis, and as long as I don't see Buddha on the counter with peppermints and some cigarettes in front of them, and as long as they don't tell me it's offered to a different God, I can eat. Eyes can eat it. Stop being so simple. It tell you right in your Bible whose God is their belly. It's right in there. Food sacrificed to an idol, y'all, ain't just because you named the idol like, oh, that's the Horus, or that's the Isis, or that's the Molech. Your stomach is your God. If you cannot control your appetite, If you can control those so-called stomach passions, what they call stomach pains today, you'll never move on to perfection. Why do you think this brotherhood, you understand, going all the way back 2,000 years, they had prolonged periods of fasting, meditating, and praying? Because they had this vessel under control. They tamed it. They tamed it. All right, let me read that one more time. And afterwards, under pretense of a banquet, having slain an ox. And afterwards, under pretense of a banquet, having slain an ox, giving them to eat of it, he infected them with various diseases. This right here shows that what you call lawful meat, or clean meat to chew on, still brings the diseases. He infected them with various diseases and subjected them to demons. And in a word, having injured many, and being supposed to be a god, he is both feared and honored. All right, chapter 5. All right. Now, this is Bernice giving intel to Clement, who was sent by Peter to check Simon Magus' temperature. Peter said, I'm coming there in a week. Y'all go tonight, though. So we sent them there on a mission. And they were so dedicated and disciplined. They were so dedicated and disciplined that they didn't even want bodily pleasure. They ain't even want to eat. They ain't even want to sleep. You understand? They ain't want to do none of that until you understand, they went and got about the Most High's business. That should make sense. All right. Discretion, the better part of valor. Discretion. Wherefore, I do not think that anyone will be able to quench such a fire as has been kindled. Look at this. Wherefore, I do not think that anyone will be able to quench such a fire as has been kindled. For no one doubts his promises, but everyone affirms that this is so. Wherefore, lest you should expose yourselves to danger, I advise you not to attempt anything against him until Peter comes. This is what Bernice is saying. All right, peep what she's saying. All right, she said, wherefore I do not think that anyone will be able to quench such a fire as has been kindled. She's saying it's gonna take somebody filled with Ruach HaKodesh. It's gonna take somebody who, you understand, who has already defeated Simon Magus to handle him. For no one doubts his promises, but everyone affirms that this is so. Wherefore, lest you should expose yourselves to danger, I advise you not to attempt anything against him until Kephah, Peter, come, who alone shall be able to resist such a power, being the most esteemed disciple of our master, Yahushua HaMashiach. For so much do I fear. Go to the next page, y'all. All right, page 92, Clementine Homilies. For so much do I fear this man, that if he had not elsewhere been vanquished in disputing with my master Kephah, I should counsel you to persuade even Kephah, Peter himself, not to attempt to oppose Simon Magus. Simon Magus had, he had pull out there. He had a lot of people afraid, a lot of people, bound, because they voluntarily subjected themselves to demons and devils that he was in league with through table fellowship, through chewing on the dead flesh of animals and whatnot. All right. Now look at this. This right here is Simon's departure. This is Clement responding. Then I said, if our master Peter did not know that he himself alone can prevail against his power, he would not have sent us before him with orders to get information secretly concerning Simon and to write him. Then as evening had come, we took supper and went to sleep. But in the morning, one of Bernice's friends came and said that Simon had set sail for Sidon. He's running. He's running. And he's trying to get ahead of everything, if you see what's going on there. Peter already handled him, so he'll run. And what Peter was doing, was going all over. Wherever he went, Peter was tracking him down and shutting him down in front of everybody. Because he was trained by the master teacher, Yahushua HaMashiach, Yahushua HaNazarene. Yahushua the Nazarene. He was trained by him. Y'all, and that's why I've been saying that the Clementine Homilies and the Nazarene Acts, y'all, that's curriculum. You really need to know how to defend the Messiah's teachings, y'all. Trip off this. Even with contradictions and tamperings and conflicts in the Bible, he still left a blueprint on how to defend his teachings. So we all need to be trained up in that, if you understand what I'm saying. All right. This Nazarene faith, Nazarene Amunah. This Nazarene faith has been rebirthed back into the earth, and it's all praise to the Almighty for it. All right. But y'all, every brother and sister needs to understand this. You need to understand how to defend the Messiah's teachings. He was not teaching like your average Israelite camp out here today. He was not teaching like the Zionists over in Israel. He was not teaching like what you see the Muslims or what you see in the Christian church. He wasn't teaching like that. He left his teachings to a specific group of brothers that he trained up. You know what I mean? Brothers and sisters whom he trained up. And those teachings are still in this earth. You understand that the blueprint on how to properly defend his teachings are still here. All the brothers and sisters that understand, like if this resonates with your spirit, if you are being called, you understand, to follow the Nazarene way, you need to get this. You need to get this. And all the so-called, all your pastors and them know about it. You understand? They know about it because if you go through seminary and theological school, ain't no way you don't know about the Clementine Homilies or the recognitions of Clement, which is the Nazarene Acts. It's impossible that you don't know about it. They all talk about it, right? But there were councils held to decide what is authority, what is authentic or what should be allowed in the New Testament and what shouldn't be. And a lot of the teachings, majority of the teachings of the Messiah and what he passed to his disciples are not in the Bible. So now you got to ask yourself, well, who and what council and who gave them the authority to make the decisions? You understand? I'm sure about this. It says right here, Simon had set sail for Sidon, and that he had left behind him Apion, a man of Alexandria, a grammarian by profession. He's a writer, whom I knew as being a friend of my father. Remember, Clement is a Roman, all right? And a certain astrologer, a Nubian, the Diopolitan, and Athenodorus, the Athenian, attached to the doctrine of Epicurus. And we, having learned these things concerning Simon in the morning, wrote and dispatched a letter to Kepha, Peter, and went to take a walk. Chapter 7, look at this. Apion salutation. All right, he done burned out. I'm out of here. The house of Deuel in the building. Sister Elisa Edwards, bless up, abundant blessings to every last one of y'all family that's attached to you. All right, hallelujah. Abundant blessings to you and your family, my sister. Apion, Chantel Prescott in the building. Bless up, bless up. Shalom, shalom. Blessings to your family. All right. Apion salutation. And Apion met us not only with the two companions just named, but with about 30 other men. Look at, he done ran down on Clement and them. He done ran down on him. He did. Y'all, it's a battle. It's a battle for our souls. Ran down on Clement and them. Dang. All right. And as soon as he saw me, he saluted and kissed me and said, "This is Clement, of whose noble birth and liberal education I have often told you." For he being related, look at this, y'all. That's why this is powerful. Because I remember Clement is a noble Roman. He ain't just no peasant. For he being related to the family of who? Tiberius Caesar, and equipped with all Grecian learning, has been seduced by a certain barbarian called Peter to speak and act after the manner of the Jews. That's powerful. You understand? Because again, that means his conversion is sincere. Think about it. This man is a part of the noble families of Rome. This cat is a Caesar, or related to the household of Caesar. Look at that. You dig? So he ain't converting for money. He ain't converting out of necessity. You know what I'm saying? He's well learned in the gods, the Greek language, and all of it. The ins and outs of Rome, the politics, all of it. So he's following a certain barbarian called Peter to speak and act after the manner of the YHWH'S. Look at that. Because to convert to the Nazarene way of life, y'all, the Nazarenes, ethnically speaking, are Israelites. Now we read in Josephus about their Essenes. Out of the three main sects in Josephus' day, Pharisees, Sadducees, and Essenes, only the Essenes was native Israelites. That means them other classes, the majority of them were actually imposters, converts. All right, a lot of them were Herodians, family of Herod. Look at this. Wherefore I beg of you to strive together with me for the setting of him right. Hey, beyond like, nah, I know Clement. I know his family. Right? We about to get to the bottom of this. He being seduced by a barbarian named Peter. And now he's acting this Nazarene way of life. Now he acting like them Israelites, them YHWH'S, them Jews. He's not acting like he's a Roman. Well versed in the Greeks. And in your presence, I now ask him, let him tell me, since he thinks that he has devoted himself to piety, meaning righteousness, whether he is not acting most impiously, wickedly, and forsaken. Look at this. This is what Clement did. And forsaking the customs of his country and falling away to those of the barbarians. You see that? Like on a worldly scale, it didn't profit Clement nothing to convert to the Nazarene way of life. It didn't profit him nothing. What would he gain financially? What would he gain physically? Nothing, y'all. He would lose it. He would lose it. And that's why I was saying, y'all, that that's what I was going into, that the Nazarenes already had Gentile protocol. What you mean Paul is the apostle to the Gentiles? Peter was already out there. Clement is the Gentile. Clement studied under Peter. So they already had Gentile protocols. What people don't understand is this: Paul started doing his own thing. That was Paul's movement you read about. The majority of Acts is written about Paul. That's the Acts of Paul. And then you got all his letters. You understand? The Nazarenes and them already had Gentile protocol. If that wasn't the case, then who is Clement? And who did he study up under and learn from? Clement is a native Gentile. He's a Roman of the noble family. Well versed in Greek and the ins and outs of Rome and all its politics. All right? But Clement studied under Peter, so much so that he even called Peter his master. Trip off that. This is a Gentile. You understand? That's like Donald Trump's son. That's like Donald Trump's son when Donald Trump was president, submitting himself to one of these Israelite assemblies or this Nazarene assembly and calling NehemiYAH his master in this Roman kingdom. Like that's what that's akin to. That's how you can relate that. So that's major for somebody to be, you know what I mean, not just a regular Roman, but of noble birth, connections all over, and then to submit, you understand, to who the Messiah said he gave the keys to the kingdom of heaven to. And by submitting, he gains nothing physically or materially. He actually loses. He following or falling for this barbarian, this YHWH'S named Peter. So here go a challenge. Let's see how well Peter trained up Clement. A challenge. That's right, Alicia Edwards. They do push Paul over Christ, y'all. There was already Gentile protocols. All right. What you got to understand is this. Paul didn't feel he had to come up under the authority of the disciples, who the Messiah chose himself. That's who he was arguing with a lot of the times. He didn't feel that, you know, Gentiles should be told, hey, y'all got to stay away from all flesh. Stay away from all blood. You understand? That's just what it is. Because in his mind, he's feeling that he's not going to be able to get a big enough movement. You ain't going to be able to get a big enough movement. No, the Gentile has to come up under the same rule and measure of thumb, measure of discipline, all right, as the Israelite who's converting to the Nazarene way. You know, special treatment. You got to come up under the same discipline. You understand? Same table fellowship. Same measure and rule of thumb. All right. I answered, I accept indeed your kindly affection towards me, but I take exception to your ignorance. For your affection is kindly because you wish me to continue in those customs, which you consider to be good. This is what Clement is saying to Apion. But your inaccurate knowledge strives to lay a trap for me under the guise of friendship. Then said Apion, does it seem to you to be ignorance that one should observe the customs of his fathers and judge after the manner of the Greeks? Then I answered, it behooves one who desires to be righteous or pious, not altogether to observe the customs of his fathers, but to observe them if they be righteous, and to shake them off if they be wicked or impious. For it is possible that one who is the son of a wicked father, if he wishes to be righteous, should not desire to follow the religion of his father. Y'all hear that? Straight up. Clement is saying, look, yeah, observe the customs of your fathers if they are righteous. But if they are wicked, let them go. That's powerful. That's how you answer that, because, you know, many gonna come at you. Many gonna come at you about what you used to do. All right? And how you used the fellowship. And how you used to fall asleep under the Christmas tree. Or how when you was in this camp or that camp, y'all used to do the new moons and all this extra stuff. You used to do it. All right? But notice what he's saying right here. He said, it behooves one who desires to be righteous, not altogether to observe the customs of his fathers, but to observe them if they be righteous, and to shake them off if they be wicked. For it is possible that one who is the son of a wicked father, if he wishes to be righteous, should not desire to follow the religion of his father. That makes sense. That makes sense. If you desire to be righteous, but your father is wicked, why would you follow his religion, his belief, his faith? Why would you follow that? Y'all see that? If that makes sense to y'all, give me a 9 up in the chat. Give me a 9 up in the chat. All right? Right? You can defeat the logic of a naysayer. You can defeat the logic of a naysayer, y'all, with common sense. That was common sense of what he dropped on. Shouldn't you follow the customs of your fathers? Yeah, if they're righteous. But if they're wicked, you should shake them off. Because look, you can be the son of a wicked father. But if you desire to be righteous, why would you follow his frame of thought? Why would you follow his religion? Why would you follow his faith? He's wicked. See that? And what you're going to realize, y'all, this Nazarene faith is real basic. It's real basic. With common sense, you can overthrow. You can overthrow the logic of a naysayer. Common sense. Common sense. So here come Apion. Then answered Apion, what then? Now remember, he's talking to him in front of a crowd of over 30 men. They done ran down on old Clement. What then? Do you say that your father was a man of an evil life? Now remember, he's related to the household of Caesar. Right? Then said I, he was not of an evil life, but of an evil opinion. Oh, wait. He was not of an evil life, but of an evil opinion. Then Apion, I should like to know what was his evil apprehension. Then said I, because he believed the false and wicked myths of the Greeks. Then Apion asked, what are these false and evil myths of the Greeks? Then I said, the wrong opinion concerning the gods, which if you will bear with me, you shall hear with those who are desirous to learn. Y'all, it's turning up now. It's turning up now. Y'all see that? He said the wrong opinion concerning the gods. Yeah. The wrong opinion concerning the gods. Oh, wait. Houston, we got a problem. All right. Houston, we got a problem right now. All right. Unworthy ends of philosophers. Let me check the chat. Make sure y'all good. Y'all good in the chat. I know my phone tripping. Let me see if y'all good though. See if I can get on here. Let me check it on what you call it. Make sure y'all good. Let me check the chat. We good. Common sense goes a long way. Absolutely. All right. Happening now. Okay. I see y'all. See y'all in the building. All right, let's get to the next one then. Let's get to the next one. I just had to see if y'all got that. All right. All right, it's heating up. All right. Unworthy ends of philosophers. Wherefore, before beginning our conversation, let us now withdraw into some quieter place, and there I shall converse with you. And the reason why I wish to speak privately is this, because neither the multitude nor even all the philosophers approach honestly to the judgments of things as they are. You say seldom is anybody honest about true judgment. So I'd rather speak privately with you, because neither the crowd nor even all the philosophers approach honestly to the judgment of things as they are. Meaning, if you don't have a sincere or a sincere spirit to receive the knowledge of truth, then why are we even having a conversation? What are we debating about? Well, did Clement know that most of us ain't figured out? Neither the multitude nor even all the philosophers approach honestly to the judgment of things as they are. That makes sense. Now, that's true. That's true. Rarely do you run across a brother or a sister who sincerely is looking for pure, unadulterated truth, regardless of what they've taught or been taught. That's rare. For we know many, even of those who pride themselves on their philosophy, who are vainglorious, very boastful, or who have put on the philosopher's robe for the sake of gain, all for money, lucre, and not for the sake of virtue or righteousness itself. And they, if they do not find that, hold on, y'all. If they do not find that for which they take to philosophy, turn to mockery. Right. Therefore, on account of such as these, let us choose some place fit for private conference. And that was solid. Clement just basically saying you rarely find anyone in the crowd or who has put on the philosopher's robe who will approach truth with a sincere spirit to really want to hear and understand truth. Usually they put on the philosopher robe and get all that understanding to advance their career. Y'all, it's rarely for the sake of virtue. It's really for the sake of righteousness to really apply righteous change in your life and those surrounding you. That's rare. So he said, look, let's speak privately then. All right? Because it's rare to find somebody who has a truthful disposition to truth, who will be honest. All right? A cool retreat. And a certain one amongst them, a rich man, possessing a garden of evergreen plants, said, since it is very hot, let us retire for a little from the city to my gardens. Accordingly, they went forth and sat down in a place where there were pure streams of cool water. Oh, they out in nature. Uh-oh. In a green shade of all sorts of trees. There I sat pleasantly. See that? There I sat pleasantly. They in the Most High's classroom. All right? And the others round about me. And they being silent instead of a verbal request made to me, showed by their eager looks to me that they required the proof of my assertion. And therefore I proceed to speak this, truth and custom. There is a certain great difference, O men of Greece, between truth and custom. For truth is found when it is honestly sought. That's right. But custom, whatsoever be the character of the custom received, whether true or false, is strengthened by itself without the exercise of judgment. Now here it is. There is a great difference between truth and what you received as customs from your forefathers. It's a great difference. You only find truth if you honestly are seeking truth. All right? But customs, whatsoever be the character of the custom received, whether the custom is true or false, is strengthened by itself without the exercise of judgment. Meaning, if it's received from your forefathers, rarely do you have a revolutionary child or son or cousin or family member who will go against it. That's why you need to count all yourselves blessed. Because a lot of us, you know, coming into the Israelite way of life, we openly rebelled against Thanksgiving and Christmas and Mother's Day and Father's Day and Valentine's Day and all this madness. We openly rebelled against Halloween. You see that? So count yourself blessed in that matter. But now the second awakening is happening. All right? And a lot of the things that you receive as truth, you start realizing that just was the replacement for what I was doing that I come to realize was wrong. All right? But how often have you scrutinized what you've learned as an Israelite? Meaning actually put your doctrine on the table, you feel me, and cross-examine it. Looked at the flip side of it. Whether true or false is strengthened by itself without the exercise of judgment. And he who has received it is neither pleased with it as being true, nor grieved with it as false. Straight up, it's just a custom passed down from your forefathers. But it hasn't went under scrutiny. It hasn't been combed with a fine-tooth comb. You feel me? For such a one has believed not by judgment, not by scrutiny, not by testing it, but by prejudice, resting his own hope on the opinion of those who have lived before him, on a mere peradventure. And it is not easy to cast off the ancestral garment, though it be shown to himself to be wholly foolish and ridiculous. Look at that. Look at that. It's not easy to cast off the ancestral garment. All your ancestors have done it. All your people are doing it. Though it be shown to himself to be wholly foolish and ridiculous. Look at that. That deal say, and it is not easy to cast off the ancestral garment, though it be shown to himself to be wholly foolish and ridiculous. Y'all, if you understand, there's a great difference between truth and a custom. Customs received by your forefathers. Give me a 3 up in the chat. There's a difference. And remember, Abion is asking Clement about what he received from his father. You saying your father evil? No, he was of evil opinion. Dang. Truth is rarely sought after. Truth is only found when it's sought after truthfully and honestly. But a custom can be received that is as simple as you teaching the children that come from you what to do. Like we received all pagan customs growing up. But rarely was it ever examined or brought into judgment, combed through with a fine-tooth comb, scrutinized. And once it's scrutinized, you find it to be wholly foolish and ridiculous. So just because you received a custom does not mean it is the truth. All right? That's the moral of the story. And that's the jewels we can pull up out of that. All right? And y'all, that's not just in the Christian church, y'all. That's even in the Hebrew Israelite movement. Just because you receive a custom does not mean it's the truth. All right? A lot of us are confusing customs with the truth. The truth is found when it is searched for honestly. Honestly. Genesis. Therefore, I say the whole learning of the Greeks is a most dreadful fabrication of a wicked demon. Y'all, this a cat who was raised in the whole Greek culture and Roman culture. He said, man, that's the fabrication of a wicked demon. Look at that. He says the fabrication of a wicked demon. The whole learning of the Greeks. You understand? And there ain't no difference. And there may be minor differences, but ain't no difference between them Greeks and them Romans. And now this is somebody who was raised in it telling you it's a hated fabrication of a wicked demon. It is. And what make you think these same gods ain't being worshipped today? What make you think these same Roman philosophies and Greek philosophies ain't been embedded in us? Look at this. For they have introduced many gods of their own, and these wicked and subject to all kinds of passions. See, there is no taming that flesh. So that he who wishes to do the like things may not be ashamed. All right? Meaning, y'all, these so-called gods, you dig, are on record. Their gods are on record committing adultery, committing homosexuality, murder, incest. They ain't even hiding, y'all. Their gods are on record. The Roman gods, the Greek gods, the Egyptian gods, they all on record. Their gods act against our God. Just check their behavior. Even when it comes down to sexual morality. Ancient Rome was very lewd. Very. Ancient Greece, very lewd. Very. Very lewd and nude. Very. So he say right here, it's the most dreadful fabrication of a wicked demon. All right. And these wicked and subject to all kinds of passion, so that he who wishes to do the like things may not be ashamed. Right. Because if your God act like that, then guess what? You're going to try to mimic your God. If your God is a homosexual, okay, it's homosexuality, okay, it's adultery, okay, it's lasciviousness, okay, it's murder and incest, then you are going to, what? Attempt to mimic your God. And again, Clement was raised in the system, so you know, right? All right, so that he who wishes to do the like things may not be ashamed, which belongs to a man, having as an example, top of page 95, Clementine Homilies, a man having as an example the wicked and unquiet lives of the mythological gods. And through his not being ashamed, such a one affords no hope of his repentance. Think about it. Why would somebody like that repent? After all, your gods do it. So if your gods do it, then guess what? You're not ashamed. If they do it, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for you, huh? And if you're not ashamed, then guess what? You can never repent of the evil you're doing. All right. And others have introduced fate, which is called Genesis, contrary to which no one can suffer or do anything. This, therefore, also is like to the first. For anyone who thinks that no one has anything to do or suffer contrary to fate easily falls into sin. Right? Because you're saying like you're basically a robot. There is no free will. If there's no free will, then you easily gonna fall into sinning against the creator of heaven and earth. Because whatever you're doing, obviously he foreordained you to do it, right? Nah, he said choose life and choose death. Two paths are before you. Choose the one. All right. And having sinned, he does not repent of his wickedness, holding it as his apology that he was born on or carried on by fate to do these things. And as he cannot rectify fate, he has no reason to be ashamed of the sins he commits. Chapter 13, destiny. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee, it's going down. It's going down. And others introduce an unforeseen destiny as if all things revolved of their own accord, without the superintendence of any master. But thus to think these things is, as we have said, the most grievous of all opinions. For as if there was no one superintending and forejudging and distributing to everyone according to his deserving, they easily do everything as they can through foolishness. Yeah, it's your destiny. There ain't no master over your life. See, these are evil mindsets to be in. These are evil dispositions to have. Because it doesn't keep you in fear of the one and true living power or his judgment. You just say, hey, I must have been born to be like this. I must have been born to be like this. And it keeps you from repenting or turning away from your crimes that you have committed against the throne of heaven. All right? Fate, destiny, like there ain't no free will. No. Therefore, those who have such opinions do not easily, or perhaps do not at all, live righteously. For they do not foresee the danger which might have the effect of converting them. But the doctrine of the barbarous Jews, as you call them, is most righteous. This is what Clement is saying to Apion. The doctrine of the barbarous Jews, as you call them, is most righteous, introducing one as the Father and Creator of all this world, by nature good and righteous, good indeed as pardoning sins to those who repent, but righteous as visiting to everyone after repentance according to the worthiness of his doings. Clement, a man who was raised in the Greek and Roman culture, noble Roman, knew the ins and outs of Rome, the politics, sacrificing all these Roman/Greek gods, learned language, letting it be known, hey, them same Jews who you call barbarians, the God they serve is the one and true and living God. And he's righteous. You understand? Does good. And will reward those based off the worthiness of their repentance. If y'all understand so far, give me a Yahoo. Give me a Yahoo up in the chat. Clementine Homilies, chapter 4, or Homily 4, chapter 14. Homily 4, chapter 14. Hallelujah. Good to see y'all in the building. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up. Good to see the family. All right. Doctrine according to godliness. Doctrine according to godliness. All right. Hold on one second, y'all. Let's get it done. All right. Doctrine according to godliness. Oh, there you go. My bad. All right, we got the Yahoos in the chat. We all good. Hallelujah. All right, this doctrine, even if it also be mythical, being righteous, would not be without advantage for this life. For everyone in expectation of being judged by the all-seeing power receives the greater impulse towards righteousness, right? Because if you know it's a judgment, y'all, then that propels you to live and act righteously. Because you know it's a judgment coming by the all-seeing power. Since you know that, you receive a greater impulse toward virtue, toward righteousness. But if the doctrine be also true, it withdraws him who has lived righteously from eternal punishment. Yeah. And endows him with eternal and unspeakable blessings from the Most High. He's saying, like, look, if what these Jews and Nazarenes are saying is true, then you have been withdrawn from eternal punishment. Right? Remember the saying, I'd rather live like there is a God now and find out it wasn't one than live as if it wasn't one and face eternal punishment on the other side. That's basically what Clement just said. But if the doctrine be also true, it withdraws him who has lived righteously from eternal punishment and endows him, blesses him with eternal and unspeakable blessings from the Most High. Ooh, it's getting good. You know, API gonna try to come back, right? We only got a few of these, y'all. Only got a few of these. All right. I want to do the classes to where you can go back and look at it, and you know, it ain't 6 hours necessarily. All right. Because y'all know we end up going. Chapter 15. All right. Chapter 15, page 96, Clementine Homilies. All right. For y'all that is just joining us, the Clementine Homilies are the journals of Simon Peter, first century documentation. All right. Spoken of in all the theological and seminary schools, top universities in this earth, Yale, Cambridge, Oxford. Oh, the Clementine Homilies. I'm like, wow, did they just say that? They all know about it. Or the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles. They all know about it. We just found it out, man. All right. If it's been around that long, you got to ask yourself why it ain't in the Bible then. And who decided it wasn't going to be in the Bible? And who gave them the authority to say it shouldn't be? Shouldn't we? Like, we need to be hearing from the disciples of the Messiah. After all, they received fiery tongues, what, to go quiet and to be forgotten about? Now all we just read about is Paul now. Like, where everybody that knew him, that knew the Messiah, where they at? Being they got fiery tongues, shouldn't we be reading the words in which they spoke, inspired by the Ruach? Absolutely, I believe so. Chapter 15, homily 4. But I return to the foremost doctrine of the Greeks, which states in stories that there are gods many and subject to all kinds of passions, and not to spend much time upon things that are clear, referring to the wicked deeds of every one of those who are called gods. I cannot tell all their amours or actions, those of Zeus and Poseidon, of Pluto and Apollo, of Dionysus and Hercules, and of them all singly. And of these you are yourselves not ignorant, having been taught their manners of life, being instructed in the Grecian learning, that as competitors with the gods, you might do like things. So Clement, like, look, what I'm saying, y'all all know. Y'all all know the stories of Zeus, Poseidon, Pluto, Apollo, Dionysus, and Hercules. Hercules. Yeah, well, you know all the stories. These are your gods. And all of them act wickedly, including when it comes down to illicit sexual behavior, y'all. And then he say, then you become competitors because these are your gods. Then you become competitors trying to outcompete them and outdo them in their wickedness. Yes, the name of the class is the folly and the sin of the heathen gods. Right? It just ain't the Roman and Greek gods, all them African gods, all of them. All right? Look at this. Wickedness of Jupiter. But I shall begin with the most royal Zeus, whose father Kronos, having, as you say, ate or devoured his own children, and having shorn off the members of his father, and having cut off the members of his father, Uranus with the sickle of adamant showed to those who are zealous for the mysteries of the gods as an example of piety towards parents and of love towards children. Really? Really? So Zeus was the son of Kronos. I guess Uranus was too. Well, Kronos ate his children, and Uranus cut off his members. Cut off the members of his father. Uranus with a sickle adamant showed to those who were zealous for the mysteries of the gods as an example of piety towards parents and of the love towards children. Oh, wait. Look at it. And Jupiter himself bound his own father. And Jupiter himself bound his own father and imprisoned him in Tartarus, what they call hell. And he also punishes the other gods. And for those who wish to do things not to be spoken of, he begot Metis and devoured her. But Metis was seed. Oh my God. What? But Metis was seed. For it is impossible to devour a child. Hold on. What you mean Metis was seed? I'm not even going to go there, y'all. But you're grown. You know what they're saying. And for those who wish to do things not to be spoken of. Right? Y'all, these are the recorded acts of their gods. These are the recorded acts of their gods. And for those who wish to do things not to be spoken of, he begot Metis and devoured her. But Metis was seed. For it is impossible to devour a child. And for an excuse to abusers of themselves with mankind, that's what their homosexuality, yo. And for an excuse to abusers of themselves with mankind, and for an excuse of sodomy, of sodomites, he carries away Ganymedes. And as a helper of adulterers in their adultery, he is often found an adulterer. And to those who wish to commit incest with sisters, he sets the example in his intercourse with his sister, Hera, and Demeter, and the heavenly Aphrodite, whom some call Dodana. And to those who wish to commit incest with their daughters, there is a wicked example from his story in his committing incest with Persephone. But in myriads of instances, he acted wickedly, that by reason of his excessive wickedness, the fable of his being a god might be received by wicked men. Wow. Wow. And y'all, you would think those who worship these guys would have enough sense to hide them stories. Y'all, them stories is for all to see. And everything is okay. Being a sodomite, eating seed, adultery, incest, murder, killing your children, locking your father up in hell. That's why the name of the class, y'all, the folly and the sin of the heathen gods. Because in essence, all them gods, y'all look, don't make me show y'all the little gay Egyptian high priest live in Atlanta. Don't make me show y'all that all these so-called Egyptian cats never bring up. And I ain't even talking about Shaka Utmost. There's a Kemetic high priest who is on YouTube. This boy is fruity. Because all the stories are the same. They just change the names and change the faces and the ethnicity of them. But all them gods the same. Zeus, Heru, Poseidon, like whoever you talking about, all them gods are the same. I ain't gonna show them tonight. I'll probably show them Friday when we all get together, because it's gonna be a part 2 to this wickedness of they gods or whatever. But it's a gay ass Comedic high priest in Atlanta, y'all, and he ain't under no illusion. He come right out and tell you that ancient Kemetic religions was infested with homosexuality, infested with sodomy. And that's why he's a sodomite. He is straight. This cat is a straight bati boy. And guess what? Your boy saw Satan, saw Net and them. Your boy Jabari and them. They real quiet about this cat. Y'all, it is a whole grown man, a whole grown sodomite, Kemetic high priest, live in Atlanta, who will tell you to your face that the ancient religion of Kemet was filled with sodomy, filled with being a sodomite. Bati boy. Truth. You know what I mean? I may show them later on by the time we finish. But I was just saying this. What I'm showing y'all is the same stories that go on with the Greek and Roman gods went on with the Egyptian gods. Same stories. And you would think they would try to hide them. Not at all. All right. So these wicked fables are received by wicked men. Because after all, these are your gods. And your gods say, look, have any pleasure you want. Do whatever you want to do. But Almighty One, our power, this Nazarene way of life tell you, bring that body into subjection. Nah, ain't supposed to be no sex going on unless it's covenant sex, unless it's marriage. Nah, don't be chewing on the dead flesh of animals. Nah, purge your vessel and keep it pristine so the Spirit of the Almighty can dwell within you. No, we command righteousness and move righteous because our power is righteous. You see that? Not with them other, but not with the creators or the gods of these other nations. All right. Clementine Homilies, Homily 4, chapter 17, top of page 97. Their makers are like unto them. You would hold it reasonable for ignorant men to be moderately indignant at these fancies. You would hold it reasonable for ignorant men to be moderately ignorant. Oh, my bad. Indignant. Let me read it again. You will hold it reasonable for ignorant men to be moderately indignant at these fancies. But what must we say to the learned? Some of whom professing themselves to be grammarians and sophists affirm that these acts are worthy of gods. For being themselves incontinent, they lay hold of this mythical pretext, and as imitators of the gods, they practice unseemly things with freedom. Y'all hear this? K5 Awkward, my beloved brother. Bless you, King. What's going on, brother? Look at this, y'all. Hold on. What you trying to do, baby? Pull it out. Pull it out, boss, baby. All right, go on out. Okay. Tell them to keep it down, though, okay? Okay. You need, grab them wipes right there. Right behind you. Right there behind you. Right there. Yep. Put it in your bucket. Okay. Pull it out there. Okay. All right, let me finish my business. Okay. All right, love you, baby. All right, you can get off in a minute. I'm grown. What you talking about? Am I finna get off in a minute? Yeah. I might be going for 6 more hours, little girl. All right, close that door. Okay. He said, you will hold it reasonable for ignorant men to be moderately indignant at these fancies. But what must we say to the learned, some of whom professing themselves to be grammarians and sophists, affirm that these acts are worthy of gods? For being themselves incontinent, They lay hold of this mythical pretext, and as imitators of the gods, they practice unseemly things with freedom. Look at that. In other words, they imitate the wickedness of their gods because their gods don't hold them to any discipline. We're here to tell you, you know, and it's a challenge. Like, look, brothers and sisters, put down the flesh, put down the strong drink, stop smoking, polluting your lungs, get away from that dairy. You understand? Pray more, meditate, fast more. It's time to present the temple of the Most High to the Most High in pristine condition, that you may absorb and house His spirit, His essence. But the other gods, you don't gotta be disciplined. You want to be in the Kama Sutra, have at it. Nah, not over this way. Everything is about discipline, dedication. All right, meditation. All right, how about we mimic righteousness? Because our God is perfect. Our power is righteous. Y'all see that? Second nature. On this account, they who live in the country sin much less than they do, not having been indoctrinated in those things in which they have been indoctrinated, who dare do these things, having learned from evil instruction to be wicked. They saying those in that country, boy, you know what I mean? Those who ain't in them cities. You know what I mean? The urban area is full of hustle and bustle and all types of spirits, all types of contracts, all types of maritime law, all types of, plots, plans, and schemes, and all that. He's saying those that live in the country sin less than those in the cities. All right. For they who from their childhood learn letters by means of such fables, while their soul is yet pliant, engraft the wicked deeds of those who are called gods into their own minds. They learn this as children. And y'all, that's why we got to instruct our children early. You understand that they engraft righteousness, righteous deeds. All right. When they are grown up, they ripen fruit like evil seeds cast into the soul. And what is worst of all, the rooted impurities cannot be easily cut down when they are perceived to be bitter by them when they have attained manhood. For everyone is pleased to remain in those habits. That's right. Y'all, old habits are hard to break. They can be broken, though. That's why a change in thought is the most revolutionary thing you can receive. A change in thought toward righteousness. All right. For everyone who's pleased to remain in those habits which he forms in childhood. And thus, since custom is not much less powerful than nature, they become difficult to be converted to those good things which were not sown or planted in their souls from the beginning. Look at that. Look at that. All right. Homily 4, chapter 19. Where ignorance is bliss. Wherefore it behooves the young not to be satisfied with those corrupting lessons. And those who are in their prime should carefully avoid listening to the mythologies of the Greeks. For lessons about their gods are much worse than ignorance. Y'all heard this? Lessons about these heathen gods, all right, are worse, much worse than ignorance, as we have shown from the case of those dwelling in the country who sin less through their not having been. Look at this. Through their not having been instructed by the Greeks. Truly such fables of theirs and spectacles and books ought to be shunned. Y'all, this is Clement. He was raised in all of it. He's saying all that is to be shunned. And if it were possible, even their cities. He don't even be around that madness. For those who are full of evil learning, even with their breath infect as with madness, those who associate with them. All right, that boy, your breath stank with that wickedness. For those who are full of evil learning, even with their breath infect as with madness, those who associate with them. with their own passions. And what is worse, whosoever is most instructed among them is so much the more turned from the judgment, which is according to nature. Wow. Wow. Meaning the student that learned that wickedness is even harder to convert to righteousness. The Messiah said you made him the twofold times the son of hell. Yeah. Right. It's so much the more turn from the judgment, which is according to what? Nature, creation. The Most High's classroom, y'all. Creation. All right. Chapter 20, false theories of philosophers. Y'all, we reading the Clementine Homilies, which is Peter's journal. And so Simon Peter was that dude. All right. And everybody he trained up. All right. And that's why I personally believe that the Nazarene Acts and the Clementine Homilies starting there. Y'all, that's curriculum. We need to know how to defend the Messiah's teachings. Somebody like, what you saying? Put the Bible down. Who said put the Bible down? You understand? But if you can't glean from it, if you can't take the righteous principles out the Bible and apply them to your life to affect righteous change right now, y'all, you just reading the book. It's the same with this. If we can't take the righteous jewels or the righteous principles out the Clementine Homilies, out there saying gospel of peace, out the Nazarene gospels, you understand? If we can't take the righteous principles out of it and apply it to affect righteous change within our lives and everybody connected to it, y'all, we're just reading. That's it. You reading just to argue with somebody. Whatever you read, you should be able to glean and take truth from it and apply it actively to your life to affect righteous change in your life. All right? False theories of philosophers, and some of those amongst them who even profess to be philosophers assert that such sins are indifferent and say that those who are indignant at such practices are senseless. For they say, check out this, y'all. For they say that such things are not sins by nature. Look at this. But have been prescribed by laws made by wise men in early times. Hold on. Computer freezing up. Hold on, y'all. Gotcha. Hold on. It's getting good. It's heating up. For they say such things are not sins by nature and have been prescribed by laws made by wise men in early times through their knowing that men, through the instability of their minds, being greatly agitated on these accounts, wage war with one another, for which reasons wise men have made laws to prescribe such things as sins. But this is a ridiculous supposition. Exactly. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. They're not sins by nature. It's only a sin based off what you believe in. That's what he's saying. It's only a sin based off what you believe in. All right? And he's saying wise men made these laws and said these things are sinful because they saw that men agitated in their minds made war with one another. So they said, oh, well, that must be a sin. Exactly. If it's going against the Most High's creation, if you're killing and stealing and plundering and pillaging and villaging over these acts, then it must be a sin. Absolutely. All right. But this is a ridiculous supposition. For how can they be other than sins, which are the cause of tumults and murders and every confusion? For do not shortenings of life and many more evils proceed from adultery? Absolutely. It's not a sin by nature. It must be if wars and murders and tumults and every kind of confusion arise from it. Whatever you're doing, if it brings murder, if it brings confusion, if it brings war, if it brings tumults, if it brings rioting and sedition, y'all, and shortening of life, y'all, 1 + 1 is 2 on every continent and in every language. 1 + 1 is 2. Then obviously it must be a sin then. Evils of adultery. That's right, Lisa Elwood. She said the image and myths of these gods taught in schools make our children question or align this idea with our beliefs and teachings. That's why they teach it, right? They raise little rebels. Evils of adultery. Chapter 21. Evils of adultery. It says, but why it is said, if a man is ignorant of his wife's being an adulteress, is he not indignant, enraged, distracted? Why does he not make war? Thus these things are not evil by nature, but the unreasonable opinion of men make them terrible. But I say that even if these dreadful things do not occur, it is usual for a woman through association with an adulterer either to forsake her husband, or if she continue to live with him, to plot against him. Y'all hear that? They trying to say, well, adultery really ain't wicked, especially if the husband don't know about it. If he don't know about it, then, you know, he won't be enraged or distracted. Clement doubles back. But I say that even if these dreadful things do not occur, it is usual for a woman through association with an adulterer either to forsake her husband, leave him, or if she continue to live with him, to plot against him, or to bestow upon the adulterer the goods procured by the labor of her husband. Yeah, she either gonna leave him or she gonna plot on her husband with the cat she committing adultery with. And having conceived by the adulterer while her husband is absent, to attempt the destruction of that which is in her womb through shame of conviction, and so to become, look at this, and so to become a what? A child murderer. Adultery. I mean, abortion. Definitely adultery, but abortion. See that? A child murderer. Or even while destroying it, to be destroyed along with it. They was doing abortions back in ancient Rome, ancient Greece. And Clement like, no, the adultery bring, look, if the woman commit adultery, it's rare that she don't leave her husband or either stay with her husband and plot on her husband with the cat she committing adultery with. And if she conceive, trip off this. Look at all the evil that comes, because the Greeks that are talking against Clement, Apion and them are saying, well, adultery really ain't a sin. And Clement like, yes, it is. Look at the fruit it produces. So what does she get pregnant by? You understand, the guy she committed adultery with. While her husband ain't even around. Guess what she gonna try to do? Kill, murder the child, murder the seed. How is this not sinful? To know what sinful is, y'all, just look at the fruit the actions produce. That's real simple. It's common sense. Or even while she committing abortion to be destroyed, she might die while it's happening. But if while her husband is at home, she conceives by the adulterer and bears a child, the child, when he grows up, does not know his father and thinks that he is his father, who is not. And thus he who is not the father at his death leaves his substance to the child of another. Look at that. How is that not evil? And how many other evils naturally spring from adultery? And the secret evils we do not know. For as the mad dog destroys all that he touches, infecting them with the unseen madness, so also the hidden evil of adultery, though it be not known, affects the cutting off of posterity, cutting off of children, cutting off of your lineage. You see, how can a Roman or Greek who worship the Roman and Greek gods say adultery is evil when their gods commit adultery? And Clement double back, say it gotta be evil. Look at the fruit of what happens. She either gonna leave the man she married to, or she gonna plot on that man to either murder him and take away his labor with the cat she cheating with or committing adultery with, if she conceived by this man while her husband ain't around, she gonna do what? Murder the child, abortion, or at least it's gonna be thought. She gonna think about it. Or if she conceived while her husband is around, meaning y'all, she laying with both them. She's going to allow her husband to believe that this child is his, and when he died, he gonna leave his substance to somebody else's child. You see, adultery, and this is like I compared to a mad dog. For as the mad dog destroys all that he touches, infecting them with the unseen madness, so also the hidden evil of adultery, though it be not known, affects the cutting off of your lineage. Wow. But the Greek and Roman gods and the committed gods, y'all, they commit adultery. They commit homosexuality. They commit murder. Y'all see this? That's why we say our God don't create evil, nor does he do evil. Evil is the byproduct of man's free will and doing the opposite of what the Most High ordained. Why he told you to choose life, right? So now a more excellent way. All right. Y'all getting some understanding? Give me a 4 up in the chat. 4 for the tribe. All right. 4 for the tribe. 4 for the tribe. All praise and glory now to the Most High. All right. And we see Clement, who was raised up in the whole Roman Greek way of life, know the ins and outs, the politics, know everything about their gods and the stories and the mythologies and all that. You understand? He letting it be known. Now the Nazarene way is the way to go. And he forsook the customs. He also explained how there's a difference between truth and customs. All right. YHWH'S in the building. What's going on, King Kong Buddha? Bless up. The big eye. Bless up. A more excellent way. But let us pass over this now. But this we all know, that universally men are beyond measure enraged on account of it. That wars have been waged, that there have been overthrows of houses and captures of cities and myriads of other evils. On this account, I betook myself to the holy God and Lord of Jews, the YHWH'S. This is what Clement's saying. He's like, you can't tell me nothing about the wickedness that go on in the Roman and Greek societies. I was immersed in it. He's saying, because of all this, because of what I've witnessed myself, I betook myself to the holy God and Lord of YHWH'S, the Jews, putting my faith in the well-assured conclusion that the law has been assigned by the righteous judgment of Yah, and that the soul must at some time receive according to the desert of its deeds. Chapter 23, Homily 4. Whither shall I go from thy presence? Bless up. Hey, bless you, my sister Jerry Manuel and my brother Jeremiah Azaliyah. Most High bless both of y'all for y'all abundant prayers and support. Bless up. Bless up. May the Most High bless you exceeding abundantly. All right. Where shall I go from thy presence? When I had thus spoken, Apion broke in upon my discourse. What? Said he. Do not the laws of the Greeks also forbid wickedness and punish adulterers? Then said I, then the gods of the Greeks who acted contrary to the laws deserve punishment. Bag drop. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. He said, well, the API, but hold on. There's laws that forbid wickedness and punish adulterers. Clement said, well, your gods deserve to be punished by the same laws that punish wickedness and adulterers. Then the gods of the Greeks who acted contrary to the laws deserve punishment. But how shall I be able to restrain myself if I suppose that the gods themselves first practiced all wickedness as well as adultery and did not suffer punishment? He said, how can you constrain yourself? How would you ever be able to restrain yourself if your very God practices this and was not punished? Whereas they ought to rather to have suffered as not being slaves to lust. Whereas they ought to rather to have suffered as not being slaves to lust. But if they were subject to it, how were they gods? If they were subject to lust, how are they gods? Then Apion said, let us have in our eye not the gods, but the judges. And look into them, we shall be afraid to sin. Then I said, this is not fitting, O Apion, for he who has his eye upon men will dare to sin in hope of escaping detection. But he who sets before, hold on, family. But he who sets before his soul the all-seeing Yah, knowing that he cannot escape his notice, will refrain from sinning, even in secret. Allegory. Look at this. That's what they're going to run to. Once you bring out, hey, look, all your little makeshift gods are gay, or commit adultery, or murder, or incest, eat their children. All your little makeshift gods are off morally. Then they go, guess what they're going to say? Y'all, the argument going to be this. Oh, that's allegorical. That's an allegory. They really didn't do that. Watch how Clement dismantled do. When Apion heard this, he said, I knew ever since I heard that you were consorting with the Jews, Yahudim, that you had alienated your judgment. For it has been well said by someone, evil communications corrupt good manners. Then said I, therefore good communications correct evil manners. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Y'all hear this? Y'all need to highlight that. All right? Because it does say evil communications corrupt good manners. What y'all going to find out when y'all be reading like the Homilies and the Nazarene Acts. All the good sayings, or all the righteous sayings that we say Paul said is in the Bible, y'all, he got that from the disciples. All the stuff he talk about that you would say is good. Like, okay, I can learn from that. That's powerful. Y'all, that's the teachings of the disciples. The disciples had already said all that. Because evil communications corrupt good manners is in Ephesians. An epistle of Paul, but we find it in the Clementine Homilies spoken, you know what I mean? So look at this. Evil communications corrupt good manners. Then said I, this is what Clement responds, therefore good communications correct evil manners. And Apion said, today I am fully satisfied to have learned your position. Therefore I permitted you to speak first. But tomorrow in this place, if it is agreeable to you, I will show you in the presence of these friends, when they meet, that our gods are neither adulterers, nor murderers, nor corrupters of children, nor guilty of incest with sisters or daughters, but the ancients, wishing that only lovers of learning should know the mysteries, veiled them with those fables of which you have spoken. He's saying all the stories that you read is false. Those are allegories. And the ancients, wishing that only lovers of learning should know the mysteries, covered them up with those fables of which you have spoken. That don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. For they speaking physiologically of boiling substance under the name of Zen, and of time under that of Chronos, and of the ever-flowing nature of water under that of Rhea. However, as I have promised, I shall tomorrow exhibit the truth of things, explaining them one by one to you when you come together in the morning. In reply to this, I said, the more as you have promised, so do. But now here's something in opposition to what you are doing or going to say. An engagement for the morrow. If the doings of the gods, remember this, y'all, and this is the count of those who say that what we read about their gods, because they can't knock it. They can't say we're not reading about it. They can't say you can't read that their gods are gay, commit adultery, commit incest, eat their children, dishonor their fathers and mothers. You understand? And so much more. They can't deny it's written, right? But trip off this. So once you got them in the corner, they're going to say, oh, that's just an allegory about time and boiling substance. And they wrote it like that so those who were lovers of learning would learn to seek the mysteries behind it. So it's an allegory. They're not talking literal sodomy. They're not talking about literal adultery. They're not talking about literal incest and murder and baby eating. So here you go. Oh, okay. Dang. So it's all allegory, huh? Now, trip off Clement's response to that. If the doings of the gods, being good, have been covered with evil fables, the wickedness of him who wove the veil is shown to have been great, because he covered up or concealed righteous things with evil stories, that no one imitate them. That don't make sense. He say, if the doings of your gods, being good, have been covered with wicked stories, then whoever wrote the story is wicked. Because guess what he did? And his sin is great. Because he covered righteous deeds with evil stories, so that no one could imitate them. If that makes sense, give me a 7 up in the chat. That's why if anybody come and say, oh, no, yeah, them stories say that, y'all, but them allegories, they really was righteous. Well, y'all, who covers up righteousness with wicked stories? And by covering up righteousness with wicked stories, then you're keeping those who read the story from imitating righteousness. That don't make sense. Why would you cover up a righteous story with or a righteous setting or righteousness with wicked stories? Shouldn't you do the opposite? Shouldn't you try to cover up wickedness with righteousness? I mean, if you don't cover anything up, cover the wickedness up and show righteousness. That's how you destroy that. You destroy that whole rundown. You understand? Because obviously, almost everybody in Greece and Rome imitated the actions of their gods. Hence, adultery was the norm. Sodomy was the norm. Murder was the norm. Incest was the norm. Baby eating was the norm. All right? And all type of debauchery and wickedness was the norm. And I always used to wonder why. Like, why, were they acting like that? They did, y'all. It's because they were reading the stories of their wicked gods. Their gods act like this. So they weren't doing it but imitating their gods. These are the stories that they received of their gods, passed down from their sages. So when you call a committed cat on the wickedness of Bess and Horus and his uncle Set, and they look gay affair. When you call them to the mat on the wickedness that their sages wrote down about their gods, but they gonna say, y'all, oh, that's an allegory. They really was righteous. You understand? But those are allegories written so those who are lovers of truth might seek the deeper mysteries of what is being conveyed. Your response should be, well, whoever wrote the story is even more wicked and is of a greater sin, because who hides righteousness with wicked stories? That don't make sense. Who hides righteousness with wicked stories? By doing that, the people who read your story would never imitate righteousness because it's covered up with wickedness. So your response to anybody claiming the stories you're reading about their makeshift gods or allegory, you simply say, well, who hides righteousness with wickedness? And by doing so, no one will ever imitate the righteous deeds of your so-called gods. And whoever wrote the story, whoever wove that veil, is of a greater sin than the so-called gods who we read about. Look at that. Bless up. It don't make sense to hide righteousness with wickedness. All right. Read it again. If the doings of the gods being good have been veiled with evil fables, the wickedness of him who wove the veil is shown to have been great, because he concealed or covered up righteous or noble things with evil narratives, that no one imitate them. But if they really did things wickedly, they ought, on the contrary, to have covered them with good or righteous stories, lest men regard them as their superiors should set about sinning in like manner. Clement say it should have been reversed then. If the gods that y'all serve are really righteous, you understand, it should have never been covered up with wicked stories. Flip side, if they are wicked, guess what? The wickedness that they do should have been covered up with righteousness. All right. That way men wouldn't set about sinning in the like manner of their gods. As I spoke thus, those present were evidently beginning to be well disposed towards the words spoken by me. For they repeatedly and earnestly asked me to come on the following day and departed. All right. So, and then when we get into homily 5 on Friday, maybe sometime tomorrow too, maybe. All right, you're going to see. Look who don't show up. He said he was coming. Look who don't show up the next day. Apion don't even show up. He don't even show up. He don't even show up. That's wild, man. And the Apion you can find in the back of Josephus. Remember, he got discourses against Apion. He has debates against Apion. Y'all, this the same Apion right here. Same guy. You say Keela slice so smooth, huh? All right. So y'all, I'm gonna stop sharing that. We're gonna get into homily 5, most I willing. We're gonna get into that. If not tomorrow, we be right back up Friday. You dig? Let me stop sharing the screen. All right, I just wanted to come on and share that with y'all real quick. All right, and it's real easy. It's real easy to pick apart these little makeshift gods. Real easy. Real easy, y'all. It ain't even hard. It's real easy to get done. All right. So y'all take that in. Y'all make sure y'all go back over that. For y'all that got the Clementine homilies, go back over that homily 4. Powerful. Powerful. You dig? And what jumped out to me was the fact that, you know, Clement himself was of Roman noble birth, proving that the disciples and apostles already had Gentile protocol. All right. And also how he was well versed in the politics of Rome. He was well versed in the gods of Rome. He was well versed in all the Greek learning and understanding. So for him to straight say, nah, that's all evil, and it's a dreaded fabrication of a wicked demon. He just said the whole Roman and Greek system is a wicked or a dreadful fabrication of a wicked demon. That's what he said. Therefore, somebody who was immersed in that, straight come out boldly and say that. Dig and say, look, my master's Peter. I follow Peter, who followed Messiah. NehemiYAH met the prophet of truth. Peter sent me here. So obviously, Peter trained him up very, very well. All right. So never let these so-called Kemet cats or any of these other cats who claim they worship these other gods tell you that the stories about their little makeshift gods are allegories. All right. If they are allegories, your response should be what? What should your response be? Let's see who was listening. What should your response be to anybody who claim the wicked stories that are written about these pagan gods are allegories, right? Only meant for the initiates of those who want higher understanding into the mysteries. What should your response be? What should your response? Let me see who was listening. Let's see who was listening. What should your response be about the allegories, or men claiming that the wicked stories about their gods are allegories? What should your response be? Let's see. Y'all, we gotta always remember, we gotta learn how to defend the writings of Messiah. Believe that in his teachings. Believe that, know that. Let's see. Right, Chantel Prescott got it. That's right, Shebrew. Shalom. That's right, Keela. How can you tell stories of wickedness to imitate righteousness? Right, Chantel. Why would you cover righteousness with wickedness? Right? Lisa Edwards, that's stupid. Jerry Manuel, why cover up good with evil? Exactly. Right? Tay Israel, then the people who wrote them should be counted as more wicked because people cannot imitate righteousness. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So y'all see, like we learning over here how to defend the Messiah's teachings. That's right, Imam. Robbie Dobson, it makes no sense. Imam Huba, why would you cover good with bad? Real simple. And that's gonna make them like, dang, yeah, because if you're covering good with bad, then those who read the stories can never imitate righteousness. Now I'm all the above. That's right. That's right. That's right. All the above. All right, y'all. And it's really that simple. It's really that simple. That's what it calls for. It's really that simple. All right. So they'll run and say it's allegorical, but for that to be an allegory or for that to be true, then you're saying that you're covering up evil. You're covering up righteous deeds with evil stories. That don't make sense at all. Right? Or Lindsay the Third making good evil and evil good. Right. Right. It makes no sense. So never let these cats tell you that. Friday, I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna show y'all that gay ass Egyptian priest down in Atlanta who straight tell you that the gods of Egypt were highly into sodomy and homosexuality and every ill kind of sexual immorality. Highly into it. See, he a sodomite himself. And none of these committed cats, you understand, will even bring him on. They real quiet about him. All right. Or Lindsay the Third, more conflict. Exactly. And that also let y'all know whatever is written about our God is evil. Now we ought not to believe that. Don't believe our God create evil, nor does evil. Because if that's the case, he sanctions everything that those gods are doing. Nah, you can't say our God create evil. Evil is a byproduct of man's free will. It's a byproduct of you going against what the Most High ordained himself. You can't call our power evil. He don't create it and he don't do it. You understand? He don't create it and he don't do it. All right? There will be judgment, but that's not evil. All his judgments are righteous. All right? But he don't create evil and he don't do evil. And by men saying that, Mally, you saying Most High don't create evil, he don't do evil, you going off. By you saying that he sanctioned all them gay gods that we just read about in Greece and in Rome. All right. So with that being said, y'all, I'm about to get up out of here. I love y'all indeed and in truth. All right, we're gonna say us a psalm real quick, pray on out. All right. And y'all again, you know what I mean? Hey, prolonged periods of prayer, fasting, meditation. Put down that strong drink. Put down that smoke. You understand? Stop chewing on the dead flesh of animals. All right? Stop making your body a graveyard for the dead flesh of animals. It's time to live. And it's time to really present these temples of the Most High in pristine condition because he wants to dwell within us. All right? So love y'all indeed and true. All right. What'd you say, Keela? The movie The Shack? I'm going to have to look that on up. All praises. All praises. All right. So part 2, Nazarene edition, part 30. Part 2 to this. We going into on y'all willing the 6th day, but we may do a little bit tomorrow. It depends. Depends on everything looking over here. All right. 2 hour and 30-minute lesson, something real quick. All right. So let's say a prayer. Let's face Jerusalem real quick. Offer up these prayers, and then y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Get with them families. Get with my nieces and nephews. Let them know Uncle MACABEE says shalom. Y'all already know. Much love. All right. Peace, love, light, healing, and balance to the hopefully elect. All right. Let's get into this real quick. All right, let's get into this real quick. We go ahead and chop it on up, family. Bang, bang, bang. Now, give me 1 second. Get this going. Face Jerusalem and offer up these prayers to the Almighty. All right, warfare prayer. Heavenly Father, we bow in worship and praise before you. We cover ourselves with the eternal spirit of your beloved Son. Yahushua HaMashiach is our protection. We surrender ourselves completely and unreservedly in every area of our life to you. We take a stand against all the workings of Satan that will hinder us in our prayer life. We address ourselves only. We address ourselves only to the true and living power and refuse any involvement of Satan in our prayers. Satan, we command you in the name, power, and authority of Yahushua, the mighty Messiah, to leave our presence with all your demons. We bring the Ruach HaKodesh of the Master Yahushua HaMashiach between us. We resist all the endeavors of Satan and his wicked spirits to rob us of the will of Yahweh. We choose to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. We pull down the strongholds of Satan. Satan, we come against all powers. We attack all powers, principalities, evil forces in this world, and spiritual wickedness in high places. We come against all demons, inside or outside of anyone present, over our cities, over our states, over this Israelite nation and world, in hell or out of hell. The Bible says, behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. And nothing shall by any means hurt you. We intend to flex this power to set ourselves free. Satan, we come against you. We attack you by the power and spirit of Yahushua HaMashiach, by the spoken word of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, by the name, power, and authority of Yahushua, by the authority of us, the true believers, in the unity of our spirits. Satan, we tell you that we sit in heavenly places with our Master Messiah Yahushua. We are over you. We have the authority over you. We have the command over you. Your fallen angel, your demons, and all forces of evil. We command you to line up in rank and file and order and come out now. Come out now. We bind up every power that you have and loose ourselves from you in the name, power, and authority of Yahushua HaMashiach, Yahushua Nazarene, MALAKIMAC, Master Yahushua. We ask that you will send the gifts of your fiery Ruach HaKodesh as needed to minister to the needs of your people and to accomplish what you want done. We are careful to give you all the glory, honor, praise, and credit for everything that is said or done. We ask all these things in the blessed name, power, and authority of Yahushua HaMashiach, our Master, our Savior, our Redeemer, our Healer, our High Tower, our Shield, our Fortress, the destroyer of the devil and all his works. And we take authority over Satan according to the whole spoken word of Yahweh, for it is the Messiah's name, Yahushua HaMashiach, Yahushua Malek Yahudim, that we pray and we declare war against the kingdom of darkness. Hallelujah! 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 Praise the mighty YAHWH. Real thing. This. Bust your guns, Zion. Pray till you feel the spirit of the Most High going forth within you. All praises, glory, and honor to the Most High. I want to create and possessor. Forever live as anointed, beloved sons in the hearts and minds of the faithful elect. Yeah, I'm going to check that shack out. I'm going to check that shack out, Most High willing, this evening. See what it's talking about. All right. All praises, glory, and honor to the Most High. Y'all, look, the day of the milk toast prayers is over. Pray till you feel it. May the Most High honor every prayer request in this hour. And may we come against, may we all touch and agree to see a massive healing upon the flock of the Most High. All right. May we all touch and agree to see the Most High's unsheathed sword be violent toward the kingdom of darkness. To cut down every unclean spirit and plague. To cut down COVID-19 and the Delta variant and the Gamma variant. To cut down any warfare that's going on within your body. Any plague, any sickness. May the Most High send forth his spirit like lightning to strike it dead on arrival. May the Most High send forth an ELE, an extinction level event on the kingdom of darkness. To shut them down, to cut them down, to bind them up with cords that can't be broken, to wire the jaw them demons that you bang with every day, and to order them back to the pits of darkness where they belong. Every prayer, every plot, every plan, every curse, every scheme, every bewitchment, every enchantment sent against us. We cut it down and strike it dead from the right hand of the Heavenly Father, from the seat and position of Yahushua Mashiach. And we order it back to the pits of darkness. We order it to boomerang back to whoever sent it. No weapon formed against us will ever prosper. No weapon formed against us. Every plan, plot, and scheme of the adversary, we declare dead, defeated, cast down, and destroyed. Understand? Every prayer request may it be honored in this hour. In the name, power, and authority, Yahushua Mashiach. Everybody that's plagued in their body, mind, and spirit, we declare a massive healing upon you and upon your houses. And the Most High send forth 12 legions of angels of peace to mark every doorway and window to our mind, body, and spirits, to our houses, to our vehicles. May the Most High send forth his weapons of mass destruction, his WMDs, every angel of war under his command. And that he command them to be hostile toward every ruler of darkness and all their servants. To be hostile toward the Bill and Melinda Gates of this earth. To be hostile toward every world ruler who's oppressing the oppressed of the earth. All right, who is destroying and committing germ warfare. Who is destroying the Most High's animals, his creation. May the Most High send forth his unsheathed sword, bathed in heaven. And may it be hostile and come against every work of darkness, every ruler of darkness. May it cut down every plague and every sickness that's within every one of you brothers and sisters' bodies, from the boogeyman himself, COVID-19, all the way down to cancer. And may his sword be hostile toward every last one of his enemies. And may he surround us with fire from his throne to keep us from all evil seen and unseen. My personal prayer for the nation. And for you Nazarenes, in the name, power, and authority, Yahushua Mashiach, the mighty Messiah. The day of the cupcake prayers has been over. We don't agree with Satan. We don't agree with no sickness any brother or sister is going through. We don't agree with no unclean spirit that may be, as you may be in agreement with for years. We come against it. We bind it. We rebuke it. We bind it up with cords that can't be broken. We wire their jaws shut, and we order them back to the gates of hell where they belong. Take your hooves off my brothers and sisters. In power, name, and authority, Yahushua Mashiach of Nazareth. Yahushua HaNazarene, Melech Yahudim. Know what I mean? Bust your guns, Zion. Love y'all indeed. And the true strap up, back up is spiritual war. You understand? And y'all stay away from that abomination. Stay away from that jab. You understand? Power of prayer and faith. And introducing your body to the right environment, eating what you're supposed to be eating, not dead animal flesh, but eating what you're supposed to be eating. Your bodies will heal. Your bodies will heal. Don't fall for the hype. All right, love y'all indeed in truth. Any questions, email us. we do our best to get back to y'all. You understand? Pray for us as we continue to pray for y'all. All right. Forever liveth the anointed and the beloved Son of the mighty Most High in every last one of our hearts. Love y'all indeed and in truth, and I ain't just saying that. Strap up and back up, long live the King. One love, y'all.